it was great seeing Johnson on Meet the Press because he took a different stance than all the cackling that you hear from the mainstream media. It's amazing how one mainstream media outlet picks up the first one to say something to attack President Biden. Everybody then follows and everybody jumps on the same bandwagon. They all say the same things. Well, Johnson came out and he said, you know what about President Biden? President Biden didn't need to apologize or say that he erred when he made that statement about Putin needs to go. You know why? Because Putin needs to go. And for those who are saying, oh, but it's a bad negotiation strategy, etc. Do you think Putin doesn't know that everybody wants him gone? Come on. I mean, grow up, media. Much of the problems that we have in this country is because of the statements that you make that fool the American people to have a different reality and start to adopt the whatever you are parroting, generally speaking, parroting something from neoliberals, parroting something from the right wing, parroting something from the wealthy class that generally has nothing to do with the average American citizen. And that's exactly why we are in the state we are today. But listen to this little piece of This Week, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Comment, the ad lib heard round the world, literally, walking it back, saying it, everybody seems to agree was not the right thing to say at the moment, but everybody's thinking it.
Well, true. Though a Washington gaffe, as we were saying, where you accidentally say what everyone already agrees is true, but distracting. What are we talking about today? Not the impassioned defense of democracy that the president delivered, but his final 9 words, where he seemed to be calling for a regime change. Distracting, undisciplined. And we'll find out whether it is dangerous, whether it is damaging, whether it causes some kind of reaction from Moscow that would not have been coming just as a result of calling Putin a butcher and a war criminal.
Quite the walk back.
It's quite the walk back, and you have the White House really making it very clear that he was not advocating regime change. You had Secretary Blinken come out in Israel also saying that. But there's also a sense that this was a window into what President Biden really thinks and feels. This is after he was holding refugee children. This is after he has met with all these people. And this is after he called President Putin a butcher and a dictator. So in some ways, the logical conclusion, apart from, of course, official U.S. policy, would be the average person thinking, of course, he should not be in power. That said, it is distracting, as Susan said, because now the White House and Republicans, you see Rob Portman calling it a mistake and others jumping on the idea that he made a gaffe.
I'm going to dissent. I'm not sure I would have walked it back. He's a war criminal. He's slaughtering innocent men, women, and children. He illegally invaded Ukraine, and he has got command and control of nuclear weapons. Such a person should not remain in power.
So he's lost his legitimacy, in your mind?
More than lost his legitimacy. And at most, I would have modified the statement by saying it's not a statement of our policy. It's just simply a statement of fact. But, you know, I'd like to see us at some point get to a place where we're not constantly disclaiming the line over which we will not cross. And he said it, you know, presidents every once in a while do say things that ad lib. Reagan was famous
Evil
for this.
Empire, right?
Evil Empire.
That rattled their cages, right?
The bombing starts in 5 minutes. Remember that?
Yeah.
So it was a statement of fact. Virtually everyone agrees. Everyone in the Western world agrees.
Somebody finally had the pelotas to say it. And, you know, it's amazing. Chuck Todd started out saying everybody agrees that the president made a gaffe, that the president said something he should not have said. And Jay said, hold on, I don't believe that. And it's amazing. All of them are saying everybody believes that to be the case, but he made a gaffe. Absolutely not. And the one thing that irked me is that the White House, people at the White House, Blinken and all the rest, so timidly came to try to clean up the president's mess, right? Because, you know, the president is a gaffe machine. So we are going to clean up his mess. Well, you know what? This particular mess didn't need cleaning up at all. In fact, you may have damaged the mess a bit by trying to clean it up, because if Putin thinks, oh my God, there is somebody after my head, he would probably act differently. But luckily, guess who also dissented to cleaning up his words? Guess who dissented? The president himself.
I'm not walking anything back. The fact of the matter is, I was expressing the more outrage I felt toward the way Putin is dealing and the actions of this man. Just brutality.
So, the person who runs the country says, I am walking nothing back. The man is a brutal dictator. He does evil, etc., etc., etc. So at this point in time, Biden and the United States has the moral upper hand. But I want to digress and talk a bit about empathy, and I want to talk a bit about atonement. Because let's be clear, the hands of the United States or any major power or any power there are, it's not clean. Just like President Putin is destroying things he shouldn't destroy, murdering those that he shouldn't murder, just about every single country that I know at some point in time have done the same and need atonement. So let's be very careful. Let's be very careful in the way we judge Russia, which needs to be judged harshly. But remember, at some point in time, when we have our own malaise, if you will, to judge it the same as well. You've heard many of my stories of Panama being invaded, etc. We have to be practical and we have to be on point. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.